everybody, and welcome to another Nephilim build. Today we're gonna block and blast as Milla Basset from Freedom Planet. As always, keep in mind that these videos are about capturing the spirit of the character rather than capturing their abilities perfectly. With that said, let's start with ability scores. Using the standard pointer rate, we'll put the 15 to Dexterity. She's gotta keep up with Lilac and Carol. Next we'll put the 14 to Constitution. The girls tend to get roughed up. After that, we'll put the 13 to Wisdom to sniff out treasures. We'll put the 12 into Charisma, she's absolutely adorable, and then the 10 to Intelligence for some chemistry. Lastly, we'll dump Strength, we won't need it. Moving on to species, we're going to go with Wild Hunt Shifter. Custom lineage isn't a thing anymore, and we still don't have playable dogs. And no, that one Anubis race doesn't count. It might have been made by Wizards of the Coast, but it was not made by their D&D team. General consensus is that whole book doesn't count as official 5e material. We get Dark Vision of 60 feet, Shifting, and Survival. She did surprisingly good living on her own. We make a custom background putting her increases into Wisdom and Dexterity. We get Perception and Investigation, the Lucky Feet, and Alchemist Supplies. I actually never used the potions, to be honest. Moving on to class, we're going to start off as a monk. We get Strength and Dexterity saving throws and take Athletics and Acrobatics for skills. We'll also be proficient with monk weapons and the dulcimer for the closest thing the 2024 rules have to a base. I was trying to decide if I wanted to play into my old ex-Moonshiners joke canon or my rock band fan canon, and figured Lilac and Carol wouldn't let Milla anywhere near alcohol. By the way, I did look up their ages. Lilac, Carol, and Milla were 15, 12, and 10 in the first game, and then 3 years older in 2. These children were wanted criminals. The legal system in that world is fucked. That also means that Carol's been riding a motorcycle since she was 12 at least, making her officially the coolest kid ever. At level 1 we'll get Martial Arts and Unarmored Defense, and level 2 we'll get Monk's Focus, Unarmored Movement, and Uncanny Metabolism. At level 3 we'll get Deflect Attacks. Not quite the full shield, but we'll get there. We'll also get our Monastic Tradition, taking the Warrior of the Elements for Manipulate Elements and Elemental Attunement. We've now got a short-range Energy Blast. Thunder damage will work for now. At level 4 we'll get Slow Fall because it has fall damage and the Observant feat, Rounding Wisdom, and Expertise in Perception. That nose of hers is top notch. At level 5 we'll get Extra Attack and Stunning Strike, and at level 6 we'll get Empowered Strikes. Fun fact, the parts of Elemental Attunement that let you change the damage type of your unarmed strikes and give you reach with them are separate, which means we have ranged force attacks. We'll also get Elemental Burst for an exploding Phantom Cube. Galaxy Trail, please make this a thing in Freedom Planet 3, it would be hilarious if I called this. By the way, this one does still have to be thunder damage. Or acid, I mean it's green and it's alchemy. We're now going to multiclass to Rogue, getting Thieves' Tools, Light Armor, and Stealth. That prison break was a formative part of Milla's childhood. It gets Sneak Attack and Thieves' Cant, Expertise in Investigation and Survival, and Weapon Mastery, which we'll ignore. At level 2 we'll get Cunning Action, and at level 3 we'll get Steady Aim and our Roguish Archetype. We're going to take Thief, getting Fast Hands and Second Story Work. Now our jumps are dex based. Coming back to Monk, at level 7 we'll get Evasion, and level 8 we'll raise Dexterity. At level 9 we'll get Acrobatic Movement to run on water, and level 10 we'll get Heightened Focus and Self-Restoration. At level 11 we'll get Stride of the Elements for Puppy Float, and level 12 we'll raise our Wisdom. We really don't need a lot of feats for this build. At level 13 we'll get Deflect Energy for the full barrier. Fighting Serpentine was always a bitch, but that thing made him Milla's bitch. At level 14 we'll get Disciplined Survivor, and level 15 we'll get Perfect Focus. Lastly, at Monk level 16 and Rogue level 4 we'll take the boons of Combat Prowess and Fortitude, capping Wisdom. I care more about having a capped deflecting DC than I do about having a capped attack modifier. Now that we're level 20 we finally have our modifiers. Our AC with Unarmored Defense is 19 and our movement speed is 55. With double dashing we're up to 165. Carol was bad enough, couldn't have Milla outpacing Lilac too. Also, our average HP is 183 with 20 D8 hit dice. Ah crap, I just gave the highest HP to the character with the least amount of life petals. That's my B. And with that, we are done. Now what can this build do? To start, we've got some pretty good mid-range damage with our blasters and the speed to keep that distance. We've also got a pretty good AoE attack. Our AC is also good, and we can throw back most attacks thrown at us. We've even got a fly speed. I mean, she's basically the Tails of this team. Ooh, does that mean Carol is the Knuckles? But then what does that make Nira? For weaknesses, we use a limited class resource that is in spell slots, so they're bad. We can also only deflect 1 attack per round, and if like 20 shadows surround us and cut off all of our escape routes, then our low strength score could be a problem. Also, our AC is less than 20, our HP is less than 200, our dex is uncapped, and we still don't have any feats or items that specifically say helps monks punch better, so we have no feat or item support whatsoever. Yeah, I don't know what's up with me lately. I think I just really want to play this amped up monk and haven't had a chance yet. Y'all really complained about a class whose only weaknesses were lackluster subclasses and people playing/building them wrong, and now we have this. Key coming back on a short rest was bad because your table doesn't take them? Sounds like a you problem, but sure, now you can refill them on initiative once per day. And then later you'll have at minimum 4 for every combat after that. Stunning Strike keeps failing? Maybe you should try leveling your secondary stat. But hey, monsters do have high con save, so now it does something even if it fails. Also, you're only allowed to try it once per turn since apparently you can't be responsible with your resources. Unless you're a warlock, apparently. Dashing and disengaging should be free because it is for rogues. I mean, you're going way faster than a rogue and you're doing other shit, but okay, they're free now. You can just pay the resource for the fringe benefits. We'll even throw in a dodge. Monks aren't sturdy enough in combat? That's because you're a backline skirmisher, not a frontline DPS. But sure, that resource refill will now heal you a bit and you'll eventually get the old bear totem barbarian rage. Except instead of resisting everything but psychic damage, you resist everything but force damage, which is arguably rarer. We even bumped up your damage die as a treat. And speaking of barbarians, you now get the same +4 increase to your 2 main scores that they do at level 20. If you can't tell, we don't really have any weaknesses. And neither do monks. We're a super dog. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to support my channel, there's a link to my Patreon down in the description. $1 a month gets you 2-day early access to my videos and access to all of my homebrew content. Let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments, and I'll see you all next time when I make Sung Jin Woo from Solo Leveling.